All right, everyone, welcome back to my writing journey for novel 3. I want to take you along with me as I go through my writing/formatting software and show you 3 things that I love about Atticus. As you can see, this is Atticus. I bought this just as with Scrivener. This is a one-time fee, not a monthly subscription, which I think is much better than a lot of other subscription-based writing software apps that are out there, but use whatever works for you. But I wanted to show 3 things about this that makes me really fall in love with it, because I think this is such a great program. The first thing I want to show you is I'm going to go back into my novel that was already written, Code Lines and Bloodlines. If you haven't picked that up, please do that and let me know what you think by leaving a rating or a review. It really does help us self-published authors out there to try and get more ratings and reviews and get our name out there. So this is what the interface looks like when you are writing. You've got your title, and then underneath that is the subtitle, where I chose, especially through my editor, Louise Hare. She did a great job of telling me about how it's really important to get a timeline down because there's so much stuff, so many things are happening in the story. So this is my subheading right here, and you can write whatever you want in there as well. So this is what you would see. Now, the first thing that I think is fantastic about Atticus that other programs, especially like Microsoft Word, really is not going to be able to do. So I have on the left-hand side a bunch of the chapters. I've got all the chapters that you would see in the story in the novel that is out right now. I decide that I really don't want to have this as my first chapter. If you're in Microsoft Word, you're going to have to copy and paste, or cut and paste rather, and adjust your table of contents. Instead, if I want to move Intermina to a different place, I literally click and drag. Say I wanted it to be chapter 5 now, right? It's going to now be chapter 5, and I don't have to really do anything else. And this really helped because when I was first laying everything out for the story, I was basically writing like one chapter for each storyline. It was talked about with Ms. Hare that it would be really helpful to chunk the story out and have 2, maybe 3 chapters focused on one person or one group. That way the reader can get into that storyline until something happens or until there was a good cutoff point, and I would move to the other storylines, and I would basically repeat that throughout. I ended up with 3 chapters for most of the story, and then I would have like 2 chapters towards the end when things were starting to wrap up. So I'm going to move my Intermina back to the beginning, but this is where you see it goes from 5, and now it's chapter 1. Even though it seems like a very minor thing, it's actually huge. When you're moving things around and trying to find the right rhythm for your story, being able to just click and drag the chapters into different places is really invaluable. Now, along with that, for the other part, I would look at the table of contents. The table of contents is pre-written for you. So based on what your body chapters are, there's your table of contents. And the table of contents will show up just like this in the novel and also in the paperback as well as the ebook. All of the chapters are laid out. And if I were to change Intermina down to chapter 5, this would immediately change as well. So it takes a lot of the formatting process out of your hands and just makes it very simple. Okay, now part 2 is I love that I'm able to create master pages. So here are master pages. You go down to the 3 buttons at the bottom left of the screen. They already have the title page, chapter, full page image. You can import chapters if you did start writing on Microsoft Word. You could import chapters into Atticus and just start writing right from there. But the thing I love is that since I'm writing a series and just going forward, I don't want to rewrite the same pages over and over again. When you're talking about the copyright page, which is at the top left of the screen there, now it looks like there's nothing here, but the reason that I did this, if I scroll down, you'll see that the copyright is right here. And this is what it looks like in Atticus. The way that you format a copyright page, paperback or ebook, it's supposed to be at the bottom left after the title page. So for paperback, I'm literally just hitting enter until I go all the way down to where the bottom of the page would be. And for the ebook, I hit enter until it's at the bottom left when you flip to that page. But either way, I hope to be writing for a long time. I'm not going to recreate this over and over again. One of the great things is that Atticus already has a pre-written copyright page for fiction stories, for novels. I basically took all of this and then I replaced it with the year. I replaced it with my email address. I talk about the first edition. And then I also gave my cover artist, John Alves, a shout out as well, because he absolutely deserves it. So rather than reinventing the wheel every single time from scratch, Atticus already has these pre-made. But what's even better is that you can turn these into master pages. If I wanted to create a master page, I would go over to the 3 dots right next to the main full title page, and I would go to Save as Master Page. I already have it saved, so I'm not going to hit that, but you can basically save all of these as master pages. And then when you want to use them again, you go to the three dots and then you can go to master pages. And now you've got everything there. A couple of pages that I have were saved as master pages because I didn't know what to do with them. And I can always get rid of them as I go. But essentially, the to you, the about the author, my epigraph has been the same the past two novels and will probably stay the same throughout the series because it applies to the whole series. And the dedication will most likely stay the same as well. And then for the next novel, if I put it out in 2026, which that's probably when the next novel would be out, if anything, I could go to the copyright page, put it into that novel and change it to 2026, and then add or subtract any information I need. So it's another great feature. And the final thing is more of a formatting thing towards the end of when you're writing and getting ready to hopefully publish or at least self-publish. But something that I think is so important as you go is formatting. At the top right of the page, or of the screen rather, you should see formatting. When you have the formatting, this is where you can create your own themes. You can look at different options for each of the fonts and ways that they've pre-made ones to help you along. So it's called Aether and Atreides, Bonker's books. There are all these different ones. Notice that you're not really going to see something like Arial or Courier. You can't really use, or Times New Roman especially, you can't really use those fonts. They're not open source fonts. So they have to create their own that maybe look similar but aren't exactly the same. So you can go to any of these. But not only that, now let's say I want to go back to my writing. That was a basic open picture that you saw of the Code Lines and Bloodlines half title page. But let's say I want to go to Intermina, right? Now that I'm at Intermina, you can see that the font is one way. This is the title font, this is the subtitle font, and then this is the type of font that I like to use when I'm writing. It's Garamond, I believe, or something similar to Garamond. But while I'm writing, it just makes it easier for me, but you're allowed to change those as well. So yeah, this looks good to me. This is what I like to have, right? But at the same time, this isn't exactly the way it's going to look to the readers. So you can also go to the formatting section, like I showed you before, and now you'll see what it looks like here. So in this case, this is the way it looks like really in my novel, but your novel might look different. If you want to go into the theme itself, you could edit. And when you edit the theme, it brings you to a bunch of different options. This is the font that I chose, small caps, which is the Intermina. Small caps means the first one is a little bigger, but the rest are also in capital letters. You align it to center, left or right. You could do different styles, bold, small caps, underlined. So I could have it underlined if I want to, the size, width, percentage, and so on. And then the subtitle of where they are and when. And again, the size. All of these things are customizable in this program. Then you've got the chapter title and the way it looks. You've got chapter 1, chapter title, subtitle. You could change it around as much as you want. Really, you could do whatever you want with this. And then not only that, but I have also ways of paragraphs. You could do drop caps like I do. Drop cap is a big first letter, and then the rest of it is normal. If you go with lead in small caps, it's usually the first 3 or 4 words are all capital. Then you can talk about when to use sentence formatting. You could do just at the beginning of a chapter or every paragraph following a break. And then I like to have my paragraphs indented, but you might prefer to have them spaced, which would look more like that. You can also see another great feature about this is that you see instantaneously what the formatting is going to look like. Now, if you want to see what they look like in different ones, there's the print version, there's iPhone, iPad, Galaxies, Kindle Fires, Paperwhite, Oasis, Nooks, and Kobos. The most popular reading tablets and things like that are there. Then if you go to print, you can see what it's going to look like on the page. And if you'll scroll down just a little bit, you notice that the page count is being calculated. I'm not going to touch anything because if you touch anything or if you move things around, it changes all of the page counts again. This will give you an idea of how big your book will be if you have a paperback or a hardcover. So it will calculate the page count for you at the bottom and tell you what it is. You could export a PDF or export EPUB. PDF would basically be like if you wanted to put it on paperback or online to draft to digital, or if you want to go on KDP for Amazon and self-publish, you need the PDF. If you wanted to do an ebook version, that's the EPUB. Now there's another one called Mobi, which is another style of ebook, but I believe they're starting to phase that out. I know that Amazon KDP is starting to phase out Mobi, so it's basically down to EPUB and PDF. But this allows you to essentially export both of them and be able to use them wherever you want. This is a great feature because if you want to have advanced reader copy readers, beta readers, or if you want to have it sent out for review, they're going to ask you for one of these. They're going to ask you for either the EPUB or the PDF. All of those companies and ARC readers need this to do their job of reading the book for you and giving a review or something like that. There's so many different things I can go into, and I could probably spend an entire video going through the formatting. I just wanted to give you a couple of ideas as to what it would look like. I like the way I have it. But if you want to change it or go to one of the pre-made themes, you could also tweak something about that theme because maybe you like everything else about it and you just want to take one little thing out or make the font a little bigger or smaller. So it's a fantastic way to do this. I'm not trying to disparage Microsoft Word. I just know from experience that it's limited in its formatting. It's a great word processor. I use it all the time for writing scripts or writing note ideas. Or when it comes to like big novel writing, you're going to need something like this. I highly recommend Atticus. It was a one-time fee of $147. Maybe it's gone up a little bit, but a one-time fee for a lifetime of being able to format and write books. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. If there are any questions or anything that you would like to ask me, please leave them in the comments below. I'm going to take you along on my writing journey in part 3 as I start to really write the chapters, and I'll show you what my process is with that. See you then.